Welcome to Mom Matters. I'm your host, Alyssa Dver, and in the next 10 easy-to-watch minutes, we're going to give you really practical tips for productive parenting. Tonight's topic is manners for minors, one of my favorite topics of all times. And joining us is parenting expert Dr. Maureen O'Brien. Dr. Mo here is a true expert. She has worked with Dr. Brazelton, the famous Dr. Brazelton at Boston Children's Hospital, setting up offensive parenting forums and programs. She also now has her own consulting business that does coaching and corporate consulting around parenting as well, right? And that's destinationparenting.com.
Right.
She is the author of this book here, Watch Me Grow 1, 2, 3, which we're going to talk about later. Includes information about manners for minors as well as other things. Mm-hmm. She also is a frequent speaker, and you talk as a consultant to parenting magazines.
Right. And values and manners are like one of the things that come up over and over again. I don't think it ever goes away as a topic.
Well, with two 2-year-old boys age 13, I am sure you have your stories of what works and doesn't work, and I can't wait to get into it. So, manners. What is the scope of manners in your opinion?
I think the scope is wider than you think it is at first. I think most parents really think, if your child says please and thank you and I'm sorry, that's the essence of good manners. And I always challenge them to think bigger, because we all want to raise children that we're proud of, that people will say, isn't that a nice child? Not, look at that brat. And the earlier you can start that sense of other people's opinions matter, you need to be thinking about what else is going on besides you, the more you'll start to instill these kind of early sets of manners that really will, take off as they get older.
It's really, it's such a noticeable difference between kids who are polite and respectful and kids who are not. How do you teach them to do it, and can we get away from that, what's the magic word, those kinds of prompts? How do you teach kids to...
Well, I think you teach certainly by example, because we all know kids are phenomenal imitators. So if you are rude, if you are abrupt with strangers, if your frustrated tone comes across all the time, they'll mimic that really quickly. Kids learn to swear, they learn all kinds of things, not just from their peers, but from their home environment.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think, number one, you sort of look in the mirror and think, am I projecting the image that I want my children to see? And then number two, you sort of start them out with very simple things like holding the door open or commenting on somebody else being kind to a stranger, and just lay that out there as something that they're thinking about as young as 3, 4, 5 years of age.
And you're right, it really is broad. Things like sitting at a table and not chowing before everybody sits down. Just being very gracious is, thank you to people who you visit, or, I think that's just really important. And, I know that some people don't take it so seriously, and maybe they don't take it themselves, like you're saying, but it really...
It's a learned skill, too. It's not something that kids necessarily come by naturally. And so I think it's important that you treat it like a rule. It's like safety. There are certain rules that you don't violate. And some of the rules in our house are you speak, very politely to adults, you share your toys. These are all ways that kids are essentially showing manners that you can role model, that you can reward them for, and that you can point out when maybe they could have handled it better.
Well, how do you do that? Do you say to the child, you should say thank you? How do you point it out to a child? Well,
I think the number one rookie error I see parents make is they'll say you're sorry, or say thank you, and the child will of course parrot that, but that doesn't really mean the child means it. And what you want is for your child to own it, and to internalize it, and to know how to do it when you're not around. So, number one, I wouldn't embarrass them and say that, like, you should have said this. I think you can coach them a little bit and say, gee, didn't you really have a good time at Nana's house or your friend's house? And kind of remind them that maybe they should say something nice and smile, and, remind them of how it feels when somebody is kind to them.
Oh, excellent. Good ideas. We are going to take a quick break, because when we come back, I'm going to ask you, how do you teach somebody else's kid, or should you, or even worse, somebody else as an adult to have better manners? We'll be right back.
Get a jump on what your preschool kids need to know with Let's Get Ready for Kindergarten from Stacy Kannenberg. A mom told me this is the book I've been looking for. This book gives me all the information I need about what my kids need to know. And a private school admissions director said this is exactly what we test on. Google it, get it, and get ahead. Let's Get Ready for Kindergarten. Applauded and approved by parents and educators. Let's Get Ready for Kindergarten is a state-approved teaching tool. On sale now, in stores or online at cedarvalleypublishing.com.
Welcome back to Mom Matters. We're talking about manners for minors with Dr. Maureen O'Brien. Whew, that was a mouthful. I was thinking during the break, you were talking about how to teach your kids to have good manners and the things you should say and how to prompt them. Do you give them rewards when they do a good job? Do you say something? Do you physically how do you reinforce that positive behavior?
Well, the way I think of rewards, Alyssa, is giving them something positive. And so I think of reward like a hug, I'm so proud of you, ruffling their head, letting them just know that with a smile that they did the right thing. Absolutely, positively, every time you catch them being good, you should do that. You don't want to sort of turn it into a chit system where, I was nice, Mommy, do I get to watch an extra half hour of TV? Because then you're treating it as a behavior that should be special. And what we want our kids to do is just have it be part of their norm, part of their everyday skills.
That's a good point. Excellent. And do you work on it in public, at home? Is there a difference?
Well, I think you can always reward them in public from the standpoint of good job because it reinforces the idea that other people are noticing. So I think you look at the surroundings and you let things that naturally happen and then point it out. So look how happy that made that child when you shared your toy. Or another parent might say, oh, what a good little boy you are, waiting in line without, asking for a candy bar. And then when you have them alone, you reinforce it. So in the car you say, that was really great because, the other day I saw a little boy who had a fit when his mommy wouldn't give him candy. And you're just kind of making it conversational. It shouldn't be a sit down, let's talk about manners kind of thing.
Just an attaboy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, here's the magic question. Either your child has another child come over or you're out and about with other kids and the other child has terrible manners and you want to either reinforce to the child for your sake, for your kid's sake.
Right.
How do you handle other kids?
Right.
Do you?
I think you do. You handle it delicately, and then again, you reinforce the lesson with your own child.
Okay.
So, sort of my parameters are if it involved any kind of a physical event between the child, so it moved beyond manners into something that was really rough housing, then I have no qualms about using a really firm voice with the other child and just saying something like, hey, we don't do that. And usually that voice from another stranger, adult, not their mom, will get their attention. And then later on you can talk to your own child about maybe how he could have handled it, say I was there first, or stand up for himself. And and if you know the other mom, I don't think they mind. I think it's trickier when you don't know the other parent. And then I think you just kind of say, well, I know that you wouldn't want my child to do that to yours.
Right. Forgive me, there is a...
a rude bug.
Yeah, a rude bug. Well, you brought up a good point about other parents and their perceptions. How many times have I been in a situation where it's the parent that's actually the one who's not using their manners, or a grandparent, even how from adult to adult, how do you say to somebody your manners stink?
Yeah, well, I think you don't confront them directly because of course, what kind of answer is there? But
right.
None of your business, or it's my house or whatever. So I think what you do is, first of all, you choose carefully. You get to, when your kids are younger anyway, select who they spend their time around. And if you have a circumstance where you really notice a child or a family's values don't mirror yours, you minimize the contact together.
Right.
And the cool thing is your kids will start to pay attention. They'll say, wow, that child was really rude, Mommy, or, I wish he didn't do that. And then you're getting your message across.
Yeah, it could be just a really precarious situation.
Right.
Very good information. I know that you have a whole bunch of additional information in the book, so we're going to put the link to the sites and that you can purchase the book Amazon and in some of the bookstores. DestinationParenting.com certainly is a wealth of information, articles, and all kinds of things you have on there. Thanks. I want to really thank you for being here. You're just wonderful. Great information. Again,
Great.
One of those topics that I know a lot of parents just don't know where to turn. So hopefully it's been helpful to you, our viewers. I do want to invite you to our blog where we do archive all our previous shows. We also have information on upcoming shows, and you can subscribe so that you get notified about new shows that are coming. We post every 2 weeks. I'd like to thank you for joining us on Mom Matters. My name is Alyssa Dver. We're here bringing you practical tips for more productive parenting.